Hi there and welcome to my 5th tutorial on Java, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about if statements. If statement is a condition statement or selection statement where we set different conditions for each type of action. So for example, we can set a condition number equals, for example, 5, and if that condition is true, then some kind of action will be executed. Otherwise, the program will omit this statement and continue with further code. So basically, we have now a selection where a program will choose from different type of statements, and whenever one of them is true, will be executed. The rest of them will be omitted. And with if statements, we probably use a variable, and most of the times you will use variables, as setting a hard values will be insufficient. So let me declare a variable first, like number, and set the value for the ease, and I will show you how to create a simple if statement. So we start with the keyword if, then we open the bracket and we set the condition. The condition can be, for example, we can check if the number is equal to some kind of number. You say, for example, we can say if the number is more than or less than. We can also check if something is true with the Boolean variables. So we have loads of things we can do. So let's say I will check if the number is equal to 20. Of course it is, but just a condition for you. So this is a condition now, and if that condition is true, whatever is between those two curly brackets will be executed. If that condition is false, this statement will be omitted, and whatever is below it will be executed if it's not an if statement again, and if it's true. And so basically, let's set some kind of statement here. Let's say system out print, and I will print a number. So this condition is now true. Of course it's true because I set the value to 20, so it will print out 20. But if I change the value to 2, for example, this condition is false then, and the number will not be printed out. So it's all depending on the condition, if it's true or false, and you can set the number for the user input. So whenever the user inputs some kind of number or string, you can change the strings as well, and then it will be checked, and whenever it's true, the statement will be executed. Now we can also build up our if statement with more conditions. It's not limited to one condition, and we don't have to write if statement all the time. We can write else if we have more conditions. So else if will cover a different condition. For example, number is less than 20. This condition will be executed if this one is false. If this one is false, then this one will be checked, and if true, it will be executed. Again, if false, none of them will be executed. So it's all depending on whether it's true or false. And let me just again print out, or we can do some kind of different things. For example, number is equal to number plus 10, let's say. So we will add 10 to the number variable, and this time this statement will be executed as this one is false. So 2 plus 10 will be executed. Otherwise, if this is false and this is false, none of them will be executed. You can also add many more else statements and ask for different conditions. So that's how the if statement works. Now there's another thing you can add to if statement, and that is else statement. Else covers everything else that your conditions didn't specify. So for example, if the number is more than, in this case, more than 20, then else statement will be executed. So for instance, if I say else statement, I will change the value in a minute, and this time I will number equals number minus 25, let's say, But this time I change the number to 21, let's say, which will be more than this condition and also this. So when I run this, you will see -4 as else condition will be executed. If you have more conditions and those are false, the else statement will be always executed. You don't have to include the else statement, of course, but in some cases it is required, as you will have some kind of different action for the else, and if something is false, then you will probably want to do something else. So that's how you construct your if statement. You can also use a strings. So for example, a string, and ask for the input, for example, and then check it. So let's just I will simply add the value and change this if statement. Let's change it, and now if you want to compare, which is you want to check if something is inside or is equal to whatever you wanted, you have to say the name of the string dot equals, and you have two choices: equals, which is the user have to input the same string you will compare to, or equals ignore case, which is the string has to have the same letters, but it doesn't matter if it's capital or is it simply lowercase letters. So if you choose this one, and for example check if it's dark, then this condition will be true. But if I say, for example here, red, and for example do something like system.out, and then name, let's say, this statement will not be executed, as this string is not the same as this one. Therefore we can say else statement, for instance, and do something else. Then for example name equals red, and print it out again. So by doing this, else statement will be executed. If I change it, this condition, to dark, this statement will be executed. So it's all depending on what type of variable you use, and as well as what type of conditions you have to set. Also, there is one more way to add more conditions to the same statement, because for example you want to check a couple things, and so instead of doing 10 if statements, you can add another condition in here which will check for another thing. So for example, you can add or operator, this is the or operator, and state, for example, name dot equals, let's say in our case, red. So this will check if this string name is equal to dark or red, print the statement. So if this or either this is true, print the statement. Otherwise, print this. You can set more of them, of course. There's another operator you can use, which is AND operator. AND operator requires for both of those conditions to be true. So this condition has to be true, as well as this condition has to be true. So both of those conditions have to be true for this action to be executed. Otherwise, this will be executed. So that's how you can build up your if statement with operators and with else statements, else if statements. And there's one more operator, which is not operator, and mostly with numbers. You can also use it with strings. And not operator is a exclamation mark. Not operator is stating that if this condition is not red, then print this out. So if I run this, you will see the dark as not, and just simply changes the condition like from true to false. So let's say this one normally would have to, without this, will have to equal red, but with not operator, this cannot equal to red. So everything but red will be true. And that's how you build up the statements. And this is pretty much about the if statements in this tutorial. Practice and with different type of statements, with different type of variables, which will come in handy in the future. And also visit my webpage and YouTube channel for more tutorials. If you like the videos, subscribe on the channel or on my videos. And I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.